Welcome, guys. Hi and welcome. My name is Dr. Wendy Dearborne, and I am from the Laws of Attraction in Action.com, and that's the laws plural of attraction in Action.com. And you are here with me on my podcast called You and the Laws of Attraction. So guys, welcome. That was a mouthful, wasn't it? Welcome. Well, guys, You and the Laws of Attraction is a podcast that I've created so that I can share with you some of the nuances that I feel have been lost in translation, in disseminating information that people need to know so that they can literally manifest what it is that they want in life. And this is basically the fundamentals of this show. Life is all about choices. And with that, it's having this understanding of how to get clarity around your choices, how to then utilize the gifts and the tools that we have been given as universal laws so that we can manifest what we want. So guys, today's show is literally called Creating a Divine Recipe for Manifesting. So that's what we're going to be looking at. And so guys, what I'm going to say to you is we are going to get right to it. We're going to get to creating what it is that we want in life. That being said, in order to create a recipe, you need ingredients. And so I want to share with you some of what I feel on a personal level and on a professional level are important universal laws, because as I said in last week's podcast, that the law of attraction is actually part of the laws, plural of attraction. The law of attraction, and even with that, the law of attraction in itself is actually made up of several other laws. But that being said, just so we're clear, we'll backtrack on this a little bit. The law of attraction is really designed. This law is designed as an organizational binding force. So the function of this law is to bind together all other laws that then create an intentional stream of consciousness that can be transmitted to the point of creation so that you can, or so it can aid in the manifestation of the things that you have chosen. Again, choice is huge. The first law in the laws of attraction. So the things that you have chosen to experience in your life. Now, the law of attraction actually works in tandem or works in harmony or in sequence, or it works with the law of magnetism. So it's to understand that the law of attraction truly is a binding force. It is not a magnetic force, because there is a law of magnetism. And as I've said to you before, and I will keep saying this, no two things, including universal laws, can occupy the same space at the same time. So it's either you have a law of magnetism and you don't. You either have a law of attraction and you don't. The attraction also is knowing or choosing the thing that you want to experience in life. This true is a fundamental of the law of attraction. What is it that you want? What is it that is calling you? What is it that is pulling to you? What is the force that is binding you to this thing that you say that you want? So anyway, today's show, as I said, is all about creating a divine recipe for manifesting. And before I go any further, let me just do this. Today is November the 23rd, 2000, and it's a Saturday. I've gone from Wednesday to a Thursday to a Friday to a Saturday, which is what I love. I can do this. I choose to do this. So today is November the 23rd, 2019, and the hour for me is 1 p.m. That always seems to be the golden hour for me, 1 p.m. So once again, welcome to You and the Laws of Attraction. I am your host, Dr. Wendy Dearborne. And for those of you who don't know me, I'm a metaphysician. That's what I do. Metaphysician literally means beyond the physical. And I do believe that beyond the physical is where the physical comes into manifestation. So guys, creating a divine recipe for manifesting what you want in life. Like all things, if you are cooking and or building something and or putting something together, whatever it is, and there are multiple parts or even a couple of parts to it, these moving parts need to be brought together and assembled in such a way that the end result is going to give you what you want, or chances are the end result is going to give you what you want. And the laws of attraction and using the laws of attraction is no different. You see, not to beat a flagging horse, much of the information out there is correct. But one of my passions in life, one of the things that I have chosen to do in life, outside of bringing to you the clear understanding that the very first universal law is the law of choice. Outside of that is the nuances, so people can understand there's a nuance to everything that you do. And understanding those nuances can be the difference between you getting what you want and you not getting what you want. Now, you may have heard this in some books, read this or heard this. We'll take electricity. The nuance in electricity working right for you is, number one, understanding what it does. Number two, understanding what it does. Number three, knowing what you want it to do for you. Okay? So electricity can light an entire neighborhood, your home. Electricity can create a warmth. By the same token, if that same electricity, the same thing that can, I'm going to phrase it this way. Electricity can be used as a defibrillator to start somebody's heart, to bring life, to give life. That same electricity, and here goes the nuance, that same electricity can be used to create a scenario where somebody dies, aka or as in an electric chair scenario, as in getting accidentally electrocuted. The nuance in this is how you're choosing to use it. The nuance to this is having a greater understanding, or having not even a greater understanding, guys. Let me backtrack on that. The nuance is understanding how electricity works. The nuance is choosing what you want it to do for you. And so it is when you're creating, and I call it a divine recipe for manifesting what you want in life, or actually creating the steps, if this works better for you, creating the steps for achieving your desired goal, and or creating the correct words so that you can affirm and or pray, because affirmation and prayers for me are the same thing. So it's all about you creating that perfect, if you will, that perfect storm so that you can have what it is that you say that you want. And I am a true believer in the fact that you can have what it is that you say that you want. Now, how that manifests to you, you don't always have control over that. And you don't. And this is something that I know has been said, I know you have read, and if not, you may be hearing for the first time. There's only a certain amount of control over the manifestation process that you have. And again, for those of you who've heard me say it, maybe you need to hear it again. Because God knows, and I'm being really honest, I need to hear this for myself over and over again. And that is, know your role in the manifestation process. Know what it is. And your role is to know categorically, without a doubt, with an unshakable belief, faith, what it is that you want. It needs to be that heart's desire. That is your role. You see, the point of creation, you can't do anything with creation other than carry the energy there. You need to know what your role is and what the universal creator, known to me as God, the God that resides within you, can do in regard to creation. Your words are spoken, and the energy takes it and creates it into a physical form. So when you are creating your divine recipe for manifesting, one of the first things you need to do is know without a shadow of a doubt what it is that you want. And so you will put the first law into the laws of attraction into place. And that's the law of choice and, or if you will, the law of free will, whichever makes you feel comfortable. But at the end of the day, it's about you making a choice and or a decision. And the thing is, guys, once you have made that decision and your five senses are engaged and you have an emotional charge that is fully charged, that is attached to this wanting, this will create belief. And that belief can actually be fueled by faith, or faith can be fueled by belief, whichever way round it makes you feel good. You see, when you choose, faith without works is dead. I believe that's the biblical phrase or the spiritual phrase. Faith without works is dead. And so your faith is making a choice. Your faith is keeping the belief alive. Your faith is being able to stand irrespective of what people say and say, this is what I want. This is what I want. And whether you kill me, whether you slander me, whether you bully me on social media, I don't care. This is what I want for me. And guys, when you are able to do this, what happens is you've really made a choice. And this is a binding and irrevocable contract that you make with the universe, that you make with God. And truth be told, that you've made with yourself. And this initiates all that we do in life, all that we experience in life. This is how it's initiated. And the contract is simple, guys. Whatever we do or don't do is a choice. It's as simple as that. The universal law of choice, the contractual agreement simply states, we are bound by ownership, by responsibility and accountability for all that we do, and conversely, all that we don't do. By not doing is a choice as well. By pretending not to see and not standing up is a choice. And every choice that you make is locked into the universal law of action and reaction. You see, the only thing, and this is another law, the universal law of action. Only action brings your request to life. Faith without works is dead. If you have no action of belief, whatever you want isn't going to come into manifestation. If you have no action of desire, it's not going to come into fruition. So only action brings your request to life. And as much as this is true and it's wonderful to have, anything else is just knowledge. And knowledge without action is just that. It's knowledge. It's just money sitting in the bank. It's just paper sitting on your desk. It's the novel that you've written that's sitting in Word or whatever program, whatever word processing program it's just sitting there. It's the idea that you have, the next biggest revolutionary idea that's just sitting in your brain. And it will sit there until it goes to the scrap heap in the sky, the scrap heap in your mind. Action is required, and this is the law of action. So I've given you several laws, but what I've spoken to, or what I've spoken on specifically, is the law of choice and the law of action. You need to take action. You need to take action. And that being said, it needs to be, as the title of this show is, divine. It needs to be divine action, guys. It needs to be God-inspired action. There is actually a universal law of divine or divinity. There's a divine law. There's a divine universal law. It's about you getting information as an intuitive insight, and or your subconscious mind talking to you directly. And can it? Yeah. Can you get insight? That's the universal law of intuition, if the truth be known. Insight, yeah. That's you getting information from sources unknown. And it's accurate information. And that's intuition. When your subconscious mind speaks to you, it speaks to you in such a way that you cannot refute it. Now, one of the differences that I have personally found, okay, guys, and this is me personally, I'd be curious to understand or to hear what some of you have experienced. When my intuition speaks to me, my intuition can talk to me in many different ways. I could have had a thought or asked myself a question, or universally asked the question, oh God, what am I going to do about so-and-so? Oh God, where am I going to find so-and-so? Okay. And I might be in Albertsons, or I don't know, Waitrose, or whatever the grocery store, Piggly Wiggly, Hilo, or whatever, right? I might be in a grocery store, and the people, not behind me, but behind the people who are we're all standing in line. So it's not the person behind me, but it's the couple behind them who are talking. And for whatever reason, I can tune into every word they're saying, and I hear my answer. I get my intuitive insight via them. I see it on a billboard, which has happened to me, yada, 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 all these different things. And it can come to you that way on the television, and one of the things, I just digress here. One of the things that I find really fascinating is that sometimes you'll receive an answer, and there can be like 10 people sitting there, 4 people sitting there, 2 people sitting there. And you hear one thing and they hear something totally different. And you'll be like, wow, did you hear that? No, the weatherman said, sky's going to be, clear, and it's going to be a beautiful day. It's going to be an absolutely gorgeous day, one of the best days of the year. And you heard you need to go to the bank now. And they didn't hear that. I love it. I love it. I love it when the universe speaks to you specifically. Okay, we're always going to go with your subconscious self. When dealing with your subconscious self, it has been my experience, and guys, note this, it's my experience, that my subconscious self will literally talk to me. Like I'll hear that voice in my head. Not like I'm crazy, but I'll hear that voice in my head, like, how do I solve this problem? How do I solve this problem? And I'll hear, do this, this, and this, or do this. And that will be the first step. And perhaps I should do a show, and that may be a brief show on really talking to and working with your subconscious mind. I'm writing that down, guys, your subconscious. mind. That might be a show to do. Techniques of how to, Yay, I love it. Techniques of how to work with your subconscious mind so you can get the answers that you are looking for. And it really works. So I just wanted to say that to you in about the intuition and the subconscious mind. So getting back to creating a divine recipe for manifesting. So let's when you have made a choice, which choice is the first law in the laws of attraction, and that's one of the things you've got to do first. You can't be wishy-washy, guys. So you've made your choice, and you are taking inspired or divine action. Inspired action is another word actually that I use. Inspired action. And you're taking your action. It's really important to understand that sometimes you are actually taken on a journey that you really didn't perceive and you really didn't want to go on. Some of those journeys can be painful. They're filled with loss. They're filled with illness. They're filled with anxiety. They're filled with things that you just don't want. Some of the things are heinous. They're filled with things that can and do bring you to your knees or lay you flat out. Guys, it's really important to understand that this is not by accident, but by design. In order for you to have what you want, sometimes you have to go through this to get to that. And it's as simple as that. You see, it is our emotional self that dictates what's sad, what's bad, what makes you mad. It's us who dictate that. It's our emotions. One person will be totally devastated by a certain set of circumstances and or an experience, and another person, it won't faze them. It's about how you respond to the things that are happening to you. And guys, there is a law of response. For everything that we do, there's a law. Florence Scovel Shinn said it succinctly. Every time we open our mouths and words pop out, we are creating laws for ourselves. And if not in that creation process, we are definitely invoking laws so that these laws come into action. And for every action, this universal law, choice, every action, there is a reaction. For every action, there is a reaction. And I actually think that if people were to take just that law, if you take just that law itself and you take it to heart with greater understanding, you will know. And I say with greater understanding, no, if you take this law and you take it for face value, for every action, everything that you do, every action, from how you blink your eyes to how you inhale and exhale, whether the action is voluntary or involuntary, there is a reaction. For every thought that flitters through your mind, every thought that stays in your mind, every word that you construct to bring those thoughts into a mental a mental thought process that can be understood, there is a reaction. For every word that you utter, there is a reaction. Everything that you do is based on actions that you take and the reactions that ensue, and then the action that you take and then the actions that ensue. Guys, our lives are built one choice at a time. Don't forget that. And once again, add to your cachet of understanding that every action you take, there is a reaction. Now I'm going to add to this, and for those of you who've listened to my work, you've heard me say this numerous times, and I will keep repeating it. You are only in control of you. Once that action has taken place, the actual reaction is nothing that you have control over. Because I'm going to tell you, if we did, many of us who have experienced some of the things that we have experienced in life, and that's good or bad, we would have been able to change it, or we would have been able to have exactly what we want. You do not control the reaction. You can only control your action, which is why I said, for me, there is a struggle, and it's a daily struggle. Guys, look, it's knowing that my actions are going to create a reaction that I have no control over. And for a control freak, which I am, do you know how challenging that is? But what that has taught me over the years is I need to make sure that my actions are correct. And when I say correct, I need to make sure that my actions are authentic. There is a universal law of authenticity. So I need to make sure that my actions are authentic and that I come from a place of truth. I come from a place of honesty and integrity. All these are universal laws that invoke specific energies. All these laws have a specific frequency that they deal with. Just like the words, your words, A-E-I-O-U, they have a specific frequency. And this frequency is what goes out and is bundled together by the law of attraction, which is bundled together by the law of attraction, which, hold on guys, let me just do this. Because I don't know what that was doing. I don't know if you guys were interrupted by that. But anyway, this is what the law of attraction does. Okay? It goes out and it bundles these frequencies together. That's what the law of attraction does. It's an organizational binding force. So that being said, as I said, guys, it's a challenge for me, especially as somebody being a control freak, and I am okay with being that way. Okay, I'm really okay with being that way. Okay, so let me get back on track here. Creating a divine recipe for manifesting. I've spoken about choice. I've spoken about action, and actually, I've spoken about the law of attraction and what it does. That being said, guys, there are other things that you need to understand. You know, there's a law of command. There's a law of demand. There's a law of command. And this is when you consciously, hear me guys, and unconsciously, because we're doing this all the time, which is why we get into problems. Okay, which is why sometimes we are taken to where it is that we don't want to go, and we have to go through whatever it is to get to whatever it is that we want. A lot of that comes from our subconscious mind doing what it is that we need to do. And I'm going to get back to that subject in just a second. But what I will say this is, there is a law of command. And as I've just said, this is when we consciously choose, and unconsciously sometimes choose, to use the spoken word to invoke an action and the divine flow, magnetism, imagination, and the law of attraction. It's huge, guys. Your word is your wand. Your words, the 26 letters of the alphabet, or whatever alphabet you use to speak and to write with, this alphabet is creating the life that you are currently living. If you don't like the life that you're living now, change your words, change your thoughts, change your internal dialogue, and you will change the world that you are living in. The world will show up differently for you to show up in. And that's a fact. So let me get back on track. Sometimes when we sometimes when we are trying to manifest, or when we're working on manifesting, we are actually taken to a place where we don't want to go. There are sometimes there are things that you need to learn. There are things that you need to know. There are things that you need to experience. And guys, okay, I'm going to ring a bell on that. Okay? All right, guys. Sometimes there are things that you need to learn. Sometimes, guys, there are things that you need to know. There are things that you need to know before the desire of your heart can be given to you. Okay, a baby. The desire, and I'm just using this as an example. The desire of a baby is to eventually walk. Instead of being carried around everywhere, the desire is to walk. Well, the baby has to go through the stage of being able to crawl, then being able to pull themselves up, and falling down, sometimes quite hard, but usually their little rump is nice and plump and it can take it. So they have to go through this experience of being able to pull themselves up and fall down, and to be able to walk on legs that are unsteady. You know, their little arms are frailing and the legs are doing the whole sort of like monster mash thing. And, you know, they have to do that. But in order for them to have the true desire of their heart, which is to be able to walk and then be able to run and then be able to stroll and then be able to move around as freely as they want on their own two legs, they have to go through all of that to get to where it is that they want to be. This is what happens in life. Recently, speaking to one of my clients, they had their insight and their understanding that what happened in 2008 and 2009 to many businesses needed to happen so that they could be and show up as who they are today. So that they could know how it is, they could know how to actually maneuver to get the desire of their heart, which hasn't changed. The same desire that they had back in 2008 and 2009, that hasn't changed. But what has changed is the knowledge that they have gained based on the fact that they lost everything. Or business-wise, they lost everything. And one of the things that I had said, and I know that people don't want to hear this when they're going through things. And I would say that I do practice emotional intelligence. But when this went, when the company went belly up, I simply said to them this: God has never dropped you and never will. God never drops you and never will. Now, your ass or your behind might actually scrape the ground, but God has never dropped you. And some of that is because you're not still. Be still. Be still. And you can and will experience the salvation of the universal creator. Be still. But that's a whole nother story. Don't get me on that. I'll start preaching to you all. That's a whole nother story. So sometimes you have to go through things to get to your divine manifestation. And that's part of the recipe. You need that knowledge. And as we all know, growing pains, not always, but they can be challenging. They can be painful. Learning is an experience that you need that will also assist and support you with making your choices. So when things happen to you, as I've said before, have your emotional outpouring. Guys, I'm not saying, don't be emotional about what happens to you. Be emotional, but don't you allow your emotions to dictate your feelings. Your emotions are showing you your feelings. So don't allow your emotions to dictate your feelings. Dictate your choices. I'm sorry. Don't allow your emotions to dictate your choices. Your emotions do that. They emote. They show you your feelings. They show you what's going on for you. So you can correlate this information. You can compute this information. And then based on that, you can make a choice that is in alignment with how you are feeling and what you want to manifest. This is a nuance, and it's a nuance where many people will make choices based on their emotions. And then, it's turned their life in a direction that they don't want. But yet still people do that. They'll make choices, and as a result of that, they don't get to see their loved ones. They'll make choices, and as a result of that, they'll make choices based on emotions. And as a result of that, their job's in jeopardy, their relationships are in jeopardy, their lives, their health, people, everything. So guys, the nuance here is in understanding the universal laws. I tell you what, you need to be very decisive. You need to be very, very decisive. The universal creator, known to me as God, is as decisive as you are, is as definite as you are, because God is a definite God. The universal creator is a definite creator. So how you show up will define what you experience, because God is as definite as you are. Do you understand this statement? God is as definite as you are. Many people will, no, God will fix this. Please, girl, please. That's not how that works. Then, if that's how it worked, everybody would be absolved of the things that they do. And that's not how that works. You are responsible. You are responsible and accountable for your choices. Okay? You are responsible and accountable for your choices. Responsibility, ownership, and accountability. That's not how that works. That's not how. If that worked, we wouldn't need to do anything. We would just lay down and life would unfold. Now, I'm not saying life wouldn't unfold. It would unfold. You lay down, life would unfold. But it's going to unfold in a way that's going to take you through it to get to it for the thing that you said that you were here to do. Because once again, we are all here for a purpose. Every one of us, we're here for a purpose. You just didn't show up here just because. And not all of us are here to be, some great big movie star. You know how happy most of them people are? People, they look at glitz and glamour and money, for that matter, and they think, wow, what a life. No. Do you know, I've been watching that series, and I digress. I will come back to the learning experience in just a second. But I've been watching that series, The Crown. I'm fascinated by that. I watched the series, The Crown. Netflix, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. And I look at the lives of the Queen, the royal family as is. And I say to myself, wow, for all the money that they've got, I wouldn't want to live that life. I wouldn't want to live my life in a fishbowl. I wouldn't want to live my life that's dictated by this strict way of, you're confined, you're constricted because of who you are. Nah, that wouldn't work for me. There's not enough money. I value my freedom. There's not enough money that would work for me to do that. But you see, people will look at the glitz and glamour and they'll see the private planes that are all decked out, the yachts, the cars and all of this. Those are just things. Those are things that you can attain. But with that attainment, guys, for people, with that attainment, there's a price to pay. There's the reward and the payoff and the reward. And in that instance, for me, as I said, I've been watching The Crown. The reward isn't worth the payoff for me. The reward isn't worth it. The reward isn't worth it. So that being said, everything that you go through is a learning experience. And that learning experience actually helps you to define and hone your divine recipe for manifesting. And once again, let me get to some of these laws as time is really rapidly running by. For your recipe, here are some laws. And guys, again, this isn't limited to just what's coming out my mouth. You can actually, through meditation, ascertain and or be given the information that you need to create the recipe for your divine manifestation, or the divine recipe for your manifestation. You can use techniques tapping into your subconscious mind so that you can, and consciously to tap into your subconscious mind, so that you are consciously being told or made aware of what it is that you need in order to create the divine recipe for manifesting. What laws do you need to invoke to create the divine law, the divine recipe for manifesting? Okay. So there are a couple of things. Of course, I've spoken about the law of choice. I've spoken about the law of attraction. I've spoken about the law of action. Before I speak about a couple of other laws, what I want to say to you is this. Within the universe, there is the universal laws, the universal law of abundance. And the universal laws of abundance invokes the physical side of your mental and or visual state of being. Okay, guys? Again, the universal law of abundance invokes the physical, the tangible, I can touch it, feel it, taste it. That side, it invokes the physical side of your mental / visual state of being. This law of abundance simply states you can have as much or as little as you want. This depends on your mental and visual state of being. Okay? It's as simple as that. I tell you guys, your mind is an amazing thing. What you think, what you see in your mind's eye and what you think is what you get. Your imagination is something that I need to do some webinar on the imagination, because guys, that's where it's all at. But that's a whole nother story. I keep saying that, but that's a whole nother story. So it's your mental visual state of being that will dictate what you have. Do you want a little or do you want a lot? The other thing with the universal law of abundance is it's sometimes erroneously grouped with success, and abundance has nothing to do with your success. And I can see why this might be the case, because people view success or failure by the achievement of the desired goal. But abundance has nothing to do with that. That is the universal law of success. The universal law of success means you have achieved your desired goal as you have seen it in your visualization, as you've seen it in your mind, as you've seen it in your imagination. So guys, it's really important not to confuse the two. Abundance has nothing to do with you achieving your desired end goal. The universal law of abundance is about your mental, visual, and imaginary state of being, and you recognizing that abundance is that you can have as little or as much as you want. Okay, guys? So I just wanted to start with that. So I just want to talk about a couple of the laws here. I'm going to talk about the law of acceptance. And one of my I was going to say gurus, but that's not the right word. Mentors. one of my mentors, my spiritual mentors, and I have many. That's not true. I have a few. And for the most part, they've passed on. Some of them are still living, but many of them have already made their transition. And one of mine happens to be Neville Goddard. I call him Uncle Neville. Neville Goddard. He happens to be one of my all-time favorites. Not just because he was born in Barbados and he's a Bayesian, but one of my all-time favorites. I mean, and the irony is, guys, this is what I mean. I had downloaded, because when I drive, I listen to books, and it's not novels. I listen to spiritual. Actually, I don't listen to novels on like Audible. That doesn't work for me. I prefer to read. But when I'm doing my spiritual work, my inspired work, I love to listen to books like Neville Goddard, Florence Scovel Shinn, you name it. Anything out there that's going to educate me and give me more knowledge so that I can take action on the knowledge that I have. But that being said, Uncle Neville, as I call him, Neville Goddard, he spoke first to me about the law of acceptance. And as you start your recipe, this is an ingredient that perhaps I am going to suggest, if it works for you, that you have in the actual, in the recipe, in your list. And so it's the universal law of acceptance. And the universal law of acceptance simply says this. It simply states, you can either embrace a fact and move forward with it, or reject a fact and move forward without it. In other words, it's the underpinning for you saying yes or no. And either way, the life that you are living, and in life, you are going to be moving forward. And so you move forward either accepting what's gone on for you, or you move forward by not accepting. Life is moving forward, and it is always accepting. The word here being acceptance. The action is what you do, whether you take it or you don't. So what I would say to you, and hopefully, guys, that was clear for you, the universal law of acceptance simply states that you either embrace a fact and move forward with it, or you reject a fact and move forward without it. It's the underpinning for you saying yes or no. Acceptance is the universal law of yes and or no. Either way, in life, you are moving forward and accepting. Okay? So that's a law that I would suggest that you actually add to your recipe. Okay? That you add to your recipe. We have the universal law of balance. This is huge as well. Okay, guys? We have the universal law of balance. Balance is about you finding a center point. And in finding your center point, it's vitally important that you let no man, no woman tell you what your journey must reflect, because that would mean you're at their center point. When we allow our wishes and desires to be tainted by other people's thoughts and feelings, we actually give away our power of attraction. We give away our power to magnetize. We give away our power to actually bundle things together. We give away ourselves. I said to you a little while ago that everybody is here for a reason. Everybody. You're here for a purpose. You're not here just because. Irrespective of what you think, you're not here just because. And you see, nobody, within the law of balance, nobody knows what your spiritual journey must encompass but you. nor do they know the divine design of it or how your life should and must be completed. Find your balance within. Yes, listen to what people have to say, but make a conscious choice. Make a choice that is right for you. Ask yourself, if you don't know, people will say they take it to God in prayer. Take it to God in prayer. Take it to your subconscious mind. Take it to your intuitive self. Take it and ask the question categorically of the universal creator. Ask. And I'm not talking about what should I do. Ask, what is my next step? You know how different those two questions are? What should I do? I don't know. When you say, what is my next step? You have indicated I am ready to take action, and whatever action that is. When you say, what should I do? I don't know what to do. It smacks of you standing there, twisting and blowing in the wind. You ain't even ready for the answer. And this, guys, is what I mean about nuances and having that understanding. Okay, one of the other laws that needs to be invoked is the law of belief. Okay? The law of belief. Now, I have done several shows on this. I've done a webinar, which is called the belief. Something belief. I've done a webinar on that, and you're able to find that's online. You'll be able to find that online. Actually, I'll upload it to the Facebook group for the umpteenth time. I'll upload it there, or you can find it on my website, thelawsofattractioninaction.com, right? And that's laws plural. There you go. So anyway, the law of belief. This law invokes within you a knowing that your intrinsic truth is right for you. Even in the face of external factors that may be showing you or telling you otherwise, you need to believe in you. You need to believe in what you want. You need to believe that it has happened. Never mind that it's happening. You need to believe. We also have the law of universal order in creation. And this is oh boy, people. Wow. Some of these laws need a show by themselves. The universal law of order in creation. Okay, guys? The beginning of anything. And, okay, the beginning of anything is developed mentally. It's developed visually. It's developed orally. And it's developed emotionally. Okay? It's your mind, within your mind. And then the manifestation is developed materially or physically. The universal law of order in creation has a start point. And that start point is always in your imagination. We're talking about the order of creation. The start point for manifesting is always in your imagination. So guys, use your imagination. For those of you who are my clients, you know I'm big on paint me a picture. I mean, I know people, my clients, and even some of my friends, they'll say something to me and they can see it, and I can see them sometimes internally taking a deep breath to gear themselves up, and or to roll their eyes. But I'm serious. Paint me a picture. You can only paint a picture with your imagination. And when your imagination is engaged, and engaged in a way that inspires belief, engaged in a way that inspires faith, engaged in a way that will actually invoke command, so that you can command by your words. Guys, there goes the action. There goes the manifestation, or there goes what you want that will take you to the point of creation. So the universal law of creation is the start point. And it's always the start point. The order, of creation is the start point. You also need to be disciplined. You also need to be disciplined. Okay? You need to be disciplined in what you're doing. And what that means is you need to practice doing what you are doing so that you can have what it is that you want. The universal law of discipline adds value to your life in that your manifestation is a process and it allows you to go the distance. Okay, guys? It allows you to go the distance. You could be trying to manifest or working on manifesting something. And because we are who we are, we live in this push button world. We want it today. We want it now. But we're not getting it today. We're not getting it now. And so therefore, discipline will hold us in good stead if we just keep plugging away at it. Keep plugging away at it. It allows you to go the distance. It allows you to keep on track. It allows you to pick yourself up. It allows you to do all the things that you need to keep doing. It is a law of allowance. It allows you, it gives you permission to go the distance. It keeps you going the distance. So discipline, and I did a huge show on that. Discipline is huge. Discipline is huge. The other thing that I would say is when you know your role, in the manifestation process, it makes it so much easier for you to do what it is that you need to do. Okay? When you know your role. When you don't know your role, and I'm sorry guys, let me back this up. I'm talking about the universal law of economy of force. Okay? What this law says is this law, which adjusts to all concerns the material and spiritual evolution of the cosmos. Okay, let me break it down to you this way. The universal law of economy of force literally states this. You only need X amount of energy to create or to set into motion that which you say that you want. Going overboard can be a waste of energy. Going overboard can be a waste of energy. So only use what you need. By knowing what you want without reservation allows you to invoke this law. Because by going overboard, you can be spinning in the wind. You can sleepless nights, all of this jazz. This is economy of force. All right? And the other thing is huge. Again, Uncle Neville, the law of expectation. Mm-hmm. The law of expectation. Energy follows thought. We move towards, but not beyond, that which we can imagine. Okay, guys? The law of expectation is only as good and can only go as far as what we can imagine. So the law of expectation means that you need to invoke this law by knowing that we're not going to go beyond our imagination. So use your imagination to imagine fully that which is you say that you want. That which you said, you expect it. You cannot expect anything less, and you sure cannot expect anything more. The universal law of faith is another one. This invokes the bond within you, or bonds within you, that are unshakable and are unbreakable. It talks to your confidence. And again, it talks to your confidence in the fulfillment of the desired outcome. Faith will actually help set in stone your expectation. I've spoken about forgiveness too. I've spoken about that, but in there's so many laws, guys, and I can't get them all in today. I know that, but in In the laws of attraction and manifesting, I've spoken about gratitude. Saying thank you is a word or action that not only externalizes your feelings, but it says that I have what I want now. Thank you very much. Most people don't say thank you unless they've received. Saying thank you opens the way for you to have more. Okay? Be honest. There's the universal law of honesty, and I haven't touched on imagination, and I have to do that. The other thing that I would like to say to you is this. There are three other laws that I just want to mention. Okay? The universal law of patience. We live in a push button world that makes us very impatient. Okay? The universal law of patience allows things to manifest and unfold in a time frame that is conducive to our success and or the highest good for all concerned. Look, there's a divine order. There's a divine flow. Actually, it's called divine flow. And the universal law of patience works with the universal law of divine flow. The universal law of patience prevents things from transpiring in a way that will skip steps, which will undermine your desired goal for manifesting. It will undermine it. And so this is what this law does. It allows us to inhale and exhale. The universal law of patience provides us with the unique opportunity to experience and get to know self in a way as we go on this journey that can only add to the cachet of who we are. The universal law of patience creates the divine space for you to grow. And you will grow. You will grow. And that's what the universal law of impatience invokes. Two other laws that I want to touch on before I wrap up. And this is actually going to go over an hour, but it is what it is. I want to wrap up. For God's sakes, guys, please invoke the universal law of secrecy and silence. The universal law of secrecy, this isn't about being shady. This isn't about being Slim Shady. It's not about being shady. The universal law of secrecy is paramount if you don't want a lot of drama and interruption to your divine flow, to the divine flow of your manifestation. The universal law of secrecy is about your desire to manifest and not having to push through or run through the gauntlet for it to come into being. The universal law of secrecy is about having the freedom to enjoy the growing process. The universal law of secrecy allows you the automation to use other universal laws that and use them in a way that is unimpeded, like your imagination, like gratitude. It also keeps and stops you from the universal law of secrecy. Also keeps you and stops you from second guessing yourself or adding to what you're thinking because somebody else has decided what's right for you. They've used their experience and said, this is the right way to go. The universal law of secrecy prevents fear, the fear of change taking hold and control. And fear will try to take control and hold of your imagination. And it's insidious. It's also very sneaky. The universal law of secrecy, when invoked, when you have claimed something that you want, you want the house, you want the car, you want the health, you want the wealth, you want, the man, the woman, whatever it is. Don't tell anybody. Don't tell anybody. It allows you to be relaxed and focused in the creative process and not worrying about what he or she may say, or people saying, well, has it happened yet? Oh, what's happening? Oh, maybe it's not going to work. all that external chatter that you don't need. You do enough of that for yourself. The universal law of secrecy invokes the law of intention. And keeping your intention a secret will allow you to build the momentum. It will allow you to build the momentum, and or at the very least, it will allow you to allow that seed, that thought process, that choice that you have made in your mind. It will give it the energy to burst through its skin and form the roots and shoots that will make it strong. The universal law of silence. Guys, silence is a choice. Silence is a choice. You have made a choice that there's something that you want. Be silent on it. Silence is a choice. Silence is you choosing not to share tangible things. Silence is the secret. It's the secret. It's the secret of the thing that you want to manifest. It's nobody's business but yours. The universal law of silence is about your private place in which you choose whom you let in. The universal law of silence is about the volume and the intensity of your intention and focus on the thing that you say that you want. In this instance, the universal law of silence isn't only about the external silence in truth and honesty, i.e. not speaking or audibly, or the non-verbal body language that we use. It's also about that internal dialogue that we have. It's about silencing that internal dialogue, or at the very least, cutting that internal chatter by literally telling the chatter to stop. The conscious mind is always trying to persuade the subconscious mind to do its bidding, and that's not how that works. The universal silence not only allows you not to be influenced externally, but it allows you to control that negative chatter that goes on that will elicit things like fear and doubt. And it allows you to control that. I'm not going to say it will stop it, because it won't. I'm not going to say that. Silence provides you with a private or personal space and a growing place for your desires and your dreams and your wants. It allows you, the universal law of silence, to expand your consciousness. It gives your imagination a limitless canvas to paint on. Silence gives you a chance to connect with yourself so you can create that which you want in life. And I see the other one underneath this, the law of speech. The power of your word is all. You are your word. You're bound to your word. But guys, we'll address the power of a speech at another date. But I just wanted you to have some of the things that I believe are a requirement to you creating a divine recipe for manifesting. You realize you need the law of forgiveness, the law of visualization, the law of gratitude, the law of love. Those are some of the things that you need. Some of the underpinning, the foundational things. All the others that I have mentioned, from action to abundance to command, and the others, secrecy, silence, faith, all of the things that the divine order in creation, all of these things that I have mentioned, these too are pivotal. They truly are pivotal. Your manifestation hinges on many of these. The one thing that is really wonderful about the universal laws, or about creation, is that, again, the desire of your heart is usually a strong connection to the vibrationary forces that are going out there, to those streams, those vibrationary streams. And this is what the universal creation will look at. What is the heart's desire? What's the true desire? And that is where you will be taken. And I'm going to come right back to, sometimes we are taken into places and spaces or through situations that are absolutely awful. They're absolutely awful. They bring you to your knees. They lay you flat out. They are awful. They have you saying you don't know if you want to carry on or how you're going to carry on. You see, what you want as the desire for the desire of your heart is locked into part of your purpose. The spiritual laws, the natural laws, the God-given laws, the tools that we have been given so that we can live the life that we want to live, so that we can live a purposeful life. Their job is to get you to where it is that you contractually agreed to be when you came into this life. That's their sole purpose. That is the universal laws. That is the law, God's law. And that's what it's about. I will say this, guys, in closing. I said that I was going to... Oh, they're here. I said I was going to pick a meme, and I'll close out with a meme. The other thing that I would say is recently, we, the family, one of our nephews who was young, he was very young. He was 35, just 35. And tragically passed away, I think as a result to an allergic reaction to medication. And they didn't even see it happening because it took a little while for the reaction to come into it took a while for the reaction to show up. Live, how do I say this? Guys, it's inevitable that at some stage we're all going to die. If we're living, we're all going to die. None of us are going to live forever, okay? You can look at any cemetery and you know this, people who have gone on, great-grandparents, grandparents, that sort of thing, and we're not going to live forever. That being said, for the majority of people, you don't know when your time's up. You know, the first time I ever heard about spontaneous combustion, I was like, oh my God, really? You know, that's when a body can just go up in flames. I mean, literally just go up in flames. They may hit the ground. They may be sitting in a chair, an armchair, and they just go up in flames. They just burn up. And that's a fact. You can look that up. But where I'm going with this, guys, is it's so important to live the life that you want to live. Not what people say you should live. Not as a result of because you're good at doing something that you do it, but it's not really what you want to do. Or you're allowing somebody else's dream to come to fruition. I'm not saying don't help somebody. But what I'm saying is the best way to help anybody is to do you, boo. Do you. Live your authentic life. And then you can help all others live theirs. Within a blink of an eye, it's gone. The next inhalation of breath isn't there. There is no more heartbeat. So live your life the way that you want it. Live it. Live it. So that's one of the things that I wanted to share with you. I think maybe I'm going to let that be my closeout from now on. Let's see. Right. One of the memes for November that I had written is this. Don't ever compromise who you know yourself to be for what people are telling you you must be. Be yourself. and free yourself. I'm Dr. Wendy Dearborne. You have been listening to an episode of You and the Laws of Attraction. I want to thank you for listening to today's show. Look out for the next one, and we'll continue this discussion on the laws of attraction and you creating the recipe and having greater understanding of the laws. Thanks, guys. Peace.